Hello everybody, welcome back to Andertons TV. I'm Pete and I'm here today with the lovely Pedro from Universal Audio that's going to show us their new microphones. Yeah. I mean, it's probably something a little bit different from what we normally do on this channel, a bit more educational, how we record our gear, how our guitar sound and what we use, but also this, which is, you just showed us a little bit before we started, and you know, it always blows my mind, this. So, what have you got here in terms of new microphones here in the front? What's going on here?
So we got 3 new microphones as part of the standard series with Hemisphere modeling. So we have the, thank you, Pete, that's really kind of you.
There we go,
so,
little guy.
First up, the SD-3, which you can use on anything from drums, guitars, which is probably what we're going to be doing mostly today. Some electric guitars, I'd say.
Yeah.
Then we got the bad boy over here, the SD-7.
Yeah.
Again, across multiple instruments, including percussion, drums, even brass, and of course, guitars. And this big fella over here, the SD-5, you can be using it for kick drums, bass guitars, anything that you really want to capture, you know, the extra low end.
Yeah.
It's a great place to start.
But there's something special about these microphones, right? You mentioned the software a minute ago.
Yeah.
So these just don't work like they work like normal microphones.
100%.
So you don't have to have the software or anything, but you also have this incredible piece of software. And how does this work? Is it an emulation or what is it? What is this Hemisphere? What is that? What is it?
So Hemisphere is a modeling.
Explain it to me like a guy who just used like a normal couple of microphones in front of an amp when we do record. But
yeah, no, that's a very good point. And like you just said,
I don't need this, right? I can just stick it in front of the mic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So plug XLR cable into your interface of choice, and you're recording like you've always done.
Yeah.
But you can then take advantage of the Hemisphere modeling, where you have multiple opportunities to sculpt the sound further.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So keeping that in mind after we record it. You will see on your screens how the plugin looks, and the first thing you gotta tell the plugin is what was the source microphone you used.
I got the 3. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so you got the 3 right there, and they are joining the family of the rest of the standard series that we already introduced up until this point, okay? Yeah. So let's say we're using the SD-3, we'll load that up, and now you will be able to access the locker of microphones. There you go.
Yeah.
So the SD-3 can go and behave something like that, but if I click on it and I open now, all the options available for that particular one microphone.
Okay.
So this makes it quite interesting as we start to record. So on the day we felt like we got the absolute best done we could with the mic placement, but as we start to build our track, maybe we did lots of extra takes as we do when we arrange a guitar, and we start to create space. We want to create space on our arrangement. Why not just change the different mic models to create different and pick up different characters of what those mics can offer?
So you can you record your guitar sound with the microphone, and then you can change this afterwards.
Yes.
So like reamping a guitar amp, for instance.
To some extent,
So sometimes, you know, when we record, not when we do it here, but we do as well. We record a microphone in front of the amp, but we'll also take maybe a clean signal out, so we can eventually reamp it with something, with an IR, whatever we want.
Yeah.
So you can do that afterwards. That's really clever.
Yeah,
because it might not fit into the sound. You know, you might need something else. You might need. Yeah. And how does this work then? Is this an emulation, or just looking at you guys, how you do the aux box, for instance? Are you, because I don't know really how all of this works. So how do you actually get that sound?
So we modeled how the microphone behaved.
So you modeled this.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. And not only. So the sound of the microphone itself, but then you can see I got some extra tricks to play with the mic. You can see I have the opportunity to change the proximity, and this has been modeled specifically per type of microphone that you see there.
Right.
And the proximity is just how much of that low end enhancement you get as you push the microphone closer to the source.
Okay.
So if you want to, make that clearer, you push it further. You can see the graph tells you a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And you can even automate that as part of your arrangement. But anyway, let's not get too techie just now. Ooh. And then probably my favorite is axes. Yeah. So as we know, it's fundamental to capture whatever source is where we put the microphone.
Yeah.
But then what if we could refine the sound of that microphone by tilting it ever so slightly or completely...
Afterwards.
even afterwards.
I mean, that is super handy. Because I know sometimes if we record some like gain stuff, you know, it just doesn't work if it's straight on because the gain can be quite fizzy, it can be too top-endy. Sometimes it's much better just to get it off axis a bit. But if you do record it like this, that's it, you're done. You can't go back and change it. That's really cool. I love that.
So you have those options, and again, you know, nothing, you know, it's simple but still very powerful. Having a complete flip switch in there as well to go off, and to show that per microphone. So if on the other side we have loaded the SD-7, you can see the microphone. It will be relevant to the models that you have, and that will be relevant to the type of mic. Yeah. Okay, and we included also a very cool ribbon.
So when you buy a mic that comes with these models, emulations, that's it. So when you buy that mic, these are the ones it comes with.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Completely free, the mic, the plugin, by the way. All you have to do is register the microphone in UA Connect, and then you get that approved, and you just need, you know, to have an iLog Cloud or iLog Physical like I have here today to run everything.
That's super cool. You got a nice ribbon down there. We were just talking about that by Dynamics.
Yeah.
One of the, I mean, that and so what we use here normally, we use a Royer, a 121, which you haven't got in there, but that's very similar to the Biodynamics, isn't it? So this is kind of the setup we normally use. So a 57 and a Royer on our amps on each, and that's it. And we stick it sort of right in the middle of the cone because we kind of know that works, and then we'll record it through our Apollo XPs into, well, we use an API plug on the, you know, on the input, and that's really it. That's how we do it, you know. So because we film a lot all the time, we need to make sure that it's quite easy, and we can't faff around with too much stuff.
You want the tone and get it done.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Apollo, so everything we've been talking about, you know, the plugin is, you know, we recorded, and after the fact we're using the plugin, which can be either, you know, a DSP version where it requires something like an Apollo, or it could just be native, so we won't need DSP at all.
Okay, right.
But if you do happen to have an Apollo, you can run the plugin on the Apollo, and all those decisions that we're talking about that you are, you know, leaving for later, you can do it as and when you are starting to get the tones, and start to shape the tone right in the Apollo. And then decide if you want to commit or not. Yeah. So those are the.
So you can do that as well. You can run on a Unison as a Unison.
Not the Unison, but on the inserts. Let me just show you. Yeah. So you see here in console. Let me just close that. Probably makes our life a little bit easier. So yeah, you will see that we got those API preamps like you always said you do. Yeah. And then we just load it as part of the inserts.
Okay, cool. I mean, it's so handy. And also you were saying this setup here with the Apollo Solo and a laptop, because the Solo runs off a laptop. You can have that with you, go to your favorite place, up on a hill, whatever, take an acoustic guitar with you or whatever, and get inspired to play whatever you want. So this is all self-contained, and you've got all those microphones in one. Yeah. And they're not that expensive, are they? No. I mean, prices again, this is a new product, it's just come out, but I mean, we saw some prices that we think it might be, and it's less than, less than $200 for the microphones. Yeah. And that's incredible value for money when you can get all that stuff. Yeah. But should we try to record something and just show what we can do? Yeah, let's make some noise. Okay, we're back in the room. A little bit of water. Let's have some water, just because it's good to hydrate. I've got a player series Telecaster. I'm going into my pedal board, and then I'm going into a Victory V140 with the 51, the 57, and the 121 Royer on it. So I'm gonna record a loop, so we get the consistency. So when we are listening back and we're doing the A/B testing, it's going to be the same, right? So we can't, it's not like my fault when I'm playing. So, but anyway, here's just the sound, how this is what the sound sounds normally. So that's like a normal sound. I've got a little bit of Cali 76, a golden reverberator, and a blue side of the protein on, so we've got a little bit of extra sort of loving in there. But so let me do a loop and then see what happens. So that's the loop we're going to use. So I'm going to put the guitar away.
Cool.
So what you just heard now was the setup we had before. And then we're going to change over to the microphones. And then we're going to compare A, B, style. And also just show you what the different mics sounds like. I can imagine when you put the Hemisphere on there.
Yep.
It's so cool, this. And that just goes on here, by the way. I was just thinking we didn't get to that point. That just goes on to there. And that's
because there's such a flat design. You can really get super, you know.
That's super cool. So it doesn't work this way.
No,
it is like this, right? Yeah. Okay. This is just for air or something, I guess. Right. Let's hook these up and then see what they sound like. Right. So back in the room, we have now. Taylor has now put the mics up.
Yeah, he's done the hardest job.
Done an amazing job.
Mic placement.
Yeah, mic placement. And we've got a camera on here, you can see it. I've got the loop down here. And we're going to record the same thing with these microphones.
Yes.
Yeah?
So, same exact preamps as before. I'm just going to open that up for sake of argument. So, yeah, we're just running the API, which is usually what you guys tend to favor.
Just like that.
So
and we just used the level to get the,
until we got the gain right. We will start recording, play the loop, and off we go. So I'm going to start recording.
There we go. Right, so now we've recorded it.
Got the loops.
With our setup and with the UA microphones. We got the loops going in. We can now listen in the room, and we're going to just have a listen first to our setup and then to the UA setup. And as you said, these are two dynamic mics.
Yes.
Not a ribbon and a 57. These are two dynamic mics that you're going to hear what they sound like with no Hemisphere on, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what we're about to hear is just... So first regular setup.
Regular setup. Yeah.
And then we're going to be listening to the standard series, the SD-3 and the SD-7 before we include Hemisphere.
I mean, I'm excited about this. Let's have a listen.
So we go. We start.
Okay, it sounds great just off the bat with those two dynamic mics. You can definitely hear there's the warmth from that ribbon, from the Royer. But yeah, it's a 1,600 quid microphone, for God's sake. It's not a 190 or 200 quid microphone.
Yeah, but so the low end response is different because with the SD-7 being an hypercardioid, so even more focused. So there's definitely differences. And but that, like you said, on one side we have the ribbon with the dynamic microphone, the 57, whilst for now, you heard on the Hemisphere side of things, so the standard series, we haven't yet loaded the Hemisphere.
And you would expect that, if you would expect a difference, but that is what we do here. So every time we record, that's the way we record it. How we place the mics, to those of you who wonders, is that we place the 57 in the middle and the Royer is sort of a little bit off axis with this thing we've done. So the same we've done with the SD-3 in the middle of the cone, and then the SD-7 sort of slightly off. So that's the same setup, so that's how we do it. So the SD-7 is the 57.
No, the SD-7 will be the ribbon.
The ribbon. Okay, right. Yeah, yes, that's right. The SD-3 would be the, yes.
Yeah. So let me open the Hemisphere plugin.
Yeah.
As I load that up.
So we do one at a time, one mic at a time as well?
Shall we do it? Yeah.
Just so we listen to the SD-3 first, and then we can listen to the different models. Do you call it models? Is that what you call it? Okay, models.
Yeah. Okay. So as mentioned earlier, so the first thing we need to make sure we load the relevant source mic that was used to pick up the sound. So we know on this one, it was the SD-3.
If you load something else, that won't work, right?
It will work, but you will then, the modeling you would be applying, it would not be coherent with the source microphone.
Yeah, okay.
That's a great question, yeah. So yeah, your mileage completely varies, isn't it? So then, as I said, once you click on the microphone itself, opens your locker. But going back to your point, all those different numbers and everything else, if you want to kind of get a bit more info about the microphones, if we go back, let's say we load this one, which is the one we will be using in a second, you always have the information there and why you should care about the microphone you're about to listen to and where has it been used before, what kind of use cases you have in there. I think it's a nice little touch just to give you a bit of, a bit of
background, because not everybody knows what microphones and where they come from, what they're used at, and
It's just some inspiration, isn't it?
Some inspiration.
Yeah.
And it's good to learn something every day, isn't it?
It is good to learn something every day. Shall we listen for now? Just the SD-3 doing. So shall we start first with no Hemisphere at all?
Yeah.
And then load the 57.
Yes, let's do that.
Gets that extra. It's quite cool, isn't it?
You know what it does? It gives it life, doesn't it? It gives it that 57 kind of feel. And it does do that to it. Just does that, which is
there's almost.
Can't believe how it's subtle. You have to know what you listen out for.
Yeah, definitely headphones will help on this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's definitely a change in character.
Huge difference.
Before we even started going down, playing with the filtering, playing with the proximity, I think that's a good place for us to start.
Could we have a listen back to the 57 from the other recording?
Yes, I was about to say, let's do that.
And then compare that to the 57 from the SD-3 with the 57 Hemisphere thing on it.
All right, so we kick it off with the SD-3. With the Hemisphere modeling doing the 57, and then we'll switch to the 57 recording. All right?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay, here we go.
So that's the real 57 on that one.
Yeah. So we're back to the one you usually use.
Right, man. Okay, that's. I mean, I'm sure people out there going, I can definitely hear the difference, because they don't like differences. But this is so close. I mean, I would not be able to tell the difference between those two. Absolutely, in a million years.
And again, there can be nuances there. I know Taylor done a brilliant job to keep as consistent as we can.
Yeah.
There's another thing that's very interesting with the SD-3. Because of its design, we are even closer to the grid. But remember, we could even exaggerate it further.
Yeah, because you can pull it back and forth, and you can do the axis on it as well.
So before we even start kind of diving into that, shall we compare the SD-7, have a listen of the SD-7 on its own?
Yeah.
And then we load the RB.
Yeah, let's do that.
Even though they're different models, but
put the biodynamics on there and then see what that does. Because that was one of my favorite microphones as well. A little round. It's such a good microphone.
So let's start. Let's cue that up. So same process as before. Just load the plugin. Again, I'm loading the DSP plugin just because I could have loaded the native one.
Yeah.
Again, just for, it's the exact same result, it's the exact same plugin. And you can even copy settings from one across to the other.
Okay.
Yep.
And you're on Luna now, so you're using Luna here,
Yeah. Which again, anybody...
It's all integrated into the thing, isn't it? Yeah. And it's free.
Yes.
If you have all the other stuff, right?
No, anybody can go on our website and just download it for free.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do that, because it's, I don't know, we talked about this before, I just think it sounds better in Luna, I don't know. And it's like, it shouldn't be better, but it just sounds, there's something just sounds better in Luna, but anyway, whatever.
We do have some cool tricks that you can do in there, with summing, but maybe that's a conversation for another day.
We could do a million-year-long video on this stuff, hours and hours.
Load the, so pick up the source like we did before, pick out a player, and we know that's where we want to go, all right? So for now, and just a bit of info on the microphone we're about to listen to.
Yeah.
It was like very famous kind of,
you know. Violet Zeppelin, all that stuff. But they all used them back in the day.
Yeah. So
is that older than the Royer, I wonder? Or is that the similar sort of...
you got me there. You got me there.
Somebody will comment on the...
Yeah. Right, okay, so SD-7, no modeling. So let's do the break part. When it goes into that break up.
The way I play on this here, it's not overdriven or anything like that. I mean, we can keep going with this, doing overdrive, and we can have a Marshall amp, and we can have, you know, this is just like. But you can definitely hear that ribbon type fatness, low end in it, which we really love for the Royer, because it's two different microphones, so you don't have to mix it very much.
Yeah, the ribbon microphones will, you know, when they start to break up, they have such a nice little interesting thing
low
there.
End sort of, there's something that happens there.
Let's be fair. Like, let's compare it in a moment with the ribbon, even though they're different models, but the same kind of, you know.
But it's a ribbon feel. The ribbon's microphones always have this low-end feel vibe to them, which the dynamic mic don't have. That's why those two mics fit so well together. But yeah, absolutely. Let's hear the 121 and then the 160.
Yes.
See what they sound like.
So we always start with the one that you tend to use here.
Yeah. So the 121 first.
Here we go.
Okay.
Switching now.
Yeah, okay.
I'm back to yours. Yours is a bit darker, maybe it was a bit louder. I think it's around that breakup. There's an interesting moment in there.
It's that low end breakup when I sort of hit the guitar, when you get that little, when the drive pedal takes over the cone of the speaker and gives it a bit of grunt. There's a little bit of different, but I do believe that the biodynamic has got more low end in it, doesn't it? It seems like that anyway. That's why some people like it and some people prefer the ribbon. It's not as properly on the low end, but it sounds great, man. I like that low end. I prefer that low end.
And let's put again things in perspective. Like, we started with that sound, and then we felt like, okay, what other options do we have?
Yeah.
And how we transformed the tones we captured just by adding the modeling. We even started to get granular by changing axis setup, playing with the proximity and all of that good jazz, you know.
So which you can't do, because once it's done with our setup, it's printed, that's it.
That's the sound of the tone.
You can't change that. You can EQ it, but 100%. It's not the same thing. This is really good.
Nice.
Man.
Yeah, cool.
And also, as we said, that's Royer is 1,600 quid.
Yeah.
And if you go the prices of the SD-7, you know, which is like $200 or something, you know, please look at the description below for the prices, because it could be changing.
Yeah, you get all of that.
You get all of that in there. But again, it's like buying, you know, a QC or, you know, any sort of Kemper or anything like that. You get all of these things in it for the price that is. But man, I don't know. I love recording an amplifier with a real guitar, regardless, because I think it does sound. There's just much. It's better for me. It just sounds much better coming in. than it does doing digital into something digital and then something digital out to some MP3s.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, if you feel like
my opinion.
The tone we had from the get-go is like you were happy with it.
And it's great. It's just my kind of sound.
You don't,
right?
you don't need to jump into the Hemisphere, but it's there to give you an opportunity to push it further.
But I can't believe how close these two things sound.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? Isn't it? It's amazing. I mean,
so,
I'm blown
is
away.
it worth us doing?
Do you want to do like a little bit? We just do the axis around on one microphone, just so we can move it around, see if it changes
start
when
exploring.
We play. Yeah.
So, how they say it in exploring the room.
Exploring the room. We were also talking about the room thing. What's it called? The studio you got.
Oh, Sound City.
Sound City Studios, which is one of my absolute favorite plugins that come out recently. If you haven't checked, and that's an X plugin, isn't it? So you can use that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use that with you don't have to have this. It's standalone.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, for a room, drums, adding it onto a drum track, adding it onto a guitar track, just to get some room.
Even run your vocals through it as well.
Anything. I run anything through it, and it sounds like it's just gives you more band feel, doesn't it? Anyway, you guys.
Shall we do your usual setup?
Yeah.
The two mics.
Yeah.
And then we go back and forth.
Yes.
Between your setup and the standard series with
let's do that.
modeling.
Let's do that. Yeah, let's have a listen.
Sweet. Okay, here we go.
It sounds great. There is slight difference in it.
Yeah, because the ribbon mics, they're different.
Exactly.
And it's well, to my ears, it's fatter the 160 emulation.
Yeah, it is. It is fatter. Yeah. I mean, it's super cool. And again, money-wise, it's so much cheaper. So much cheaper. And I love the fact that you can do this afterwards. So even if you're mixing. If you record this, mix it in a band, and you go, I can't really hear the guitars, I'm on another microphone on that, man, it's so...
That's a great point, yeah, you could duplicate this track.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you could add a different
microphone. That is really...
And then all of a sudden, you record it with one mic on the day, but you start duplicating, you have all those different options to play with. And when you start playing with let's do the axis and stuff like that.
Let's do the axis where you just,
cool.
See what happens.
Let's have a little bit of fun with that. So let me load now the SD-7 as well. Have them both on screen.
So cool.
Sure they're not paired, otherwise I'll control both at once. And then just playing with the proximity of one mic and the other. I'm just going to shut up and just do it and see what we hear until we go like, oh, that was a cool time.
I'll shut up as well for the first time ever.
Here we go.
Love it.
If you want less body.
There you go, yeah.
You're thinning the sound. Because you're almost, listening to the back of the mic.
Wow. That's so handy you can do that.
And then of course play with the proximity as well. Make that guy super present or push it away. That would be another. Play with the different voicings, with the different filters to roll out some of that low end. Just go crazy going to different models.
Microphones are so expensive. Once you start, it's like watches or anything like that. Pedals, if you want a U87 or anything like this, it's like thousands of pounds. Thousands and thousands of pounds.
Can get crazy. But I cannot stress enough as well. So the hardest work is you did a beautiful mic placement in there, and then you have all those options that, think about that for a second, it's like having your own private assistant that went and changed the microphone, but make sure it's the exact same placement as you had it before, and now you can really compare you know, apples with apples. As you switch between the microphone, and you only hear the impact of the mic on that sound, and then play with the plugin to get into all those different nuances. And
I'm a huge fan of this. I really am. I think this is great for anybody who records with a real amp still. And that might be interested in using, you know, some software, some models and stuff, but not necessarily on the amp. You know, not amp models, not amp IRs. They love their sound at home. They love the guitar tone coming out of their real amplifier. You know, this is like a little add-on to those people who like that. You know, like me, I love recording a real amp because it makes me play in a different way. You know what I mean? The playing through the amp guitar and into the amp, the way it reacts, I prefer that to something digital. But I also really love that you can do this afterwards. This is brilliant. I mean, it's amazing.
And
so
again,
and you can use it on acoustic guitars, on drums, on pianos, on vocals, on anything.
Anything you feel like a dynamic microphone is a good choice. Just
But this is just guitar in here. I mean, we should do some more. We will do some more videos.
We will
on our tech channel with Jack. So please go and like and subscribe, and make sure you go over to that channel and like and subscribe. But thank you very much for coming in, Pedro. It's really good and a nice little video here for Thursday. And fantastic. Thank you very much, man. Let's go and get some lunch, shall we? Links below for all this. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.